I'm Al Rosen, and you're watching iBaseball Extended.
Well, first thing that happened was I was asked to go on the board of the National Exhibition Company, which was Horace Stoneham's company.
The National
Exhibition Company.
Exhibition shows. And
the Giants, as you know, came out to San Francisco in 1958. And I think I'm pretty accurate with this when I say in 1960 I was asked to go on the board of the Giants.
Just
59
over
60.
a cup of coffee one day, or did you
No,
get a call?
I'd through a friend in New York. I'd met Stoneham and met Chub Feeney, and it was suggested to him they ought to have somebody local on the board. So, and it was a great thrill, you know, having always been interested in sports, and now all of a sudden to be involved with a major league team, major league sports team.
Just sitting on the board, huh?
Right.
Not as an investor yet?
Well, yeah, everybody had the opportunity to buy a little stock in National Exhibition.
Get you a little bit at that time?
A little bit of stock.
You got a little bit at that time. Okay, so now you're kind of getting into it, aren't you?
I did, and enjoyed the experience. Stoneham was quite an individual.
Yeah.
And had lots of wonderful experiences. And as time went on, he was running into financial difficulties. Right. Culminated in 1975 when he looked around to sell the ball club. Because there was some problems. At that time, it looked like the Oakland A's were going to be moving.
Oh.
Finley wanted to move him to Denver, and he had a great financial offer. And so one thing led to another, and finally culminated in '76, and we purchased the ball club.
You took care of him, didn't you? For a whopping $8 million?
Correct.
So I did a little homework, but whopping $8 million.
Well, then
at the time it was market value, right?
Yeah, sort of. And
attendance wasn't that great at the time.
It was awful. Attendance that year, if I remember, was around 650, 700,000, and had a partner for 1 year, Bud Herseth.
Bud Herseth,
who was the largest independent meat packer in Arizona, and had some really interesting experiences before the deal went through.
Not with E. coli or anything like that.
No, with National League owners.
Oh, okay.
Because the majority of them did not want, in case you don't know that, the majority of them didn't want to stay in Candlestick Park. And the Giants Board of Directors, which I was on, and resigned from as they received an offer from Labatt's Brewery. And resigned. The mayor of San Francisco didn't think that was a good idea, had a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the Giants to stop it. Mr. Feeney got hold of me and said, tomorrow we need a conference call. So at noon on that day, had a conference call with all National League owners and said that we were interested in purchasing. And they said, in their best judgment, we'll give you 5 hours. I asked for 48 hours. Walter O'Malley was a great help. He didn't want to see that rivalry with the Giants and Dodgers, who had already moved to Los Angeles, to lose that. Yeah. So I said, if those are your ground rules, I can't do anything about it. I thought it was a little bit unfair. And
the 5 hours.
There were a lot of people in the Bay Area who had contacted.
What did they want you to do in 5 hours? Just
either
go run home and get the checkbook real quick?
That's it. Yes or no. And a lot of people in the area had contacted me and said, you know, you're interested in, if it comes down to it, call me. Well, it turned out that particular day, everybody was out to lunch, and nobody was available until this fellow Herseth from Arizona called. And we had discussions and conferences for about 2 hours on the phone since he was in Arizona. Finally, he said, okay, he said, I've got money in the bank, which we checked out. And I went back on the phone at 5 o'clock and said, we'll do it. Buzzy Bavasi, as I recall, vouched for Herseth and said, oh, yeah, I know him. I think he'd heard of him. I don't know if he really knew him. So anyhow, that's how the deal worked.
And so
we bought the club. He became a partner.
Bought the club
for 1 year. And then we bought him out.
You got him out of there.
For a lot of valid reasons.
Okay.
It literally came down to a couple hours that the club wasn't in Toronto at that time in
Wow.
'76.
Yeah.
Because they gave a 5-hour window, which was outrageous. But
The '78 team is kind of interesting.
yeah, turned around. We had some ups and downs.
And you've
We
hired
do-
Tom Haller as the general manager?
Yeah, Spec Richardson was there. He was there originally because he was appointed by baseball.
And then you decided to go with Tom
because
Haller?
there was some financial problems, and so somebody had to come in from Major League Baseball, and that was Spec. And then Haller came later.
Who decided to hire Tom? Was it you, or
Yep.
did you have help?
We did. Well, we had a couple of people helping,
A
but
couple people. Okay.
I had the pleasure of making the decision.
Okay. So then Tom comes in, and
That was, I can't remember the year, but it was, what, 3 or 4 years later. Probably Spec was there for 3 or 4 years.
right. And then Tom came in, and he was obviously a good major
Right.
league catcher and
Right.
so forth.
And was good.
It was good, and things still weren't working out.
We
Attendance
weren't
was
quite
still down.
Yeah, we did draw 1 million people over the previous year. I think that was '78. In '77, I believe we had 700,000. The next year we drew 1,700,000.
And had they enclosed the
At that
outer
ti-
area?
Yes, I
that
think
was a
so.
problem with the wind and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a bandbox there at certain times of the day, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, good memory. You're right.
Yeah.